From the land of the five rivers.
ATS 30, 35, 40, midfield, McMahon breaks a tackle, he's gone! 10, 5, touchdown! Raiders!
2 years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back, man, for another edition of Around the Shield, man. We got special guests this week, man. Severe's out this week. But, hey, man, we got Marcus from Tape Don't Lie, man. Appreciate him coming through. Also, we got Mike from the Black Team Broadcast in the building, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. We're going to have a great show. What's going on, man? How's everybody doing?
Just chilling, man. Chilling. Enjoying the offseason so far.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm good, dog. I'm doing good over here.
That's what's up, bro. Hey, man. Hey, it's been a crazy offseason, man. And Marcus, I feel like the last time we spoke was probably during the season. So, man, I want to hear your thoughts, man. Like, because I know, and especially Mike too. We haven't spoken in a minute too as well. And hey, don't forget to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Appreciate everybody coming through. We see everybody pulling up. But let's just start it right away, man. Hey, Raiders offseason started with the Raiders pretty much firing their head coach, AP. Did you agree with that move, Marcus?
Yeah. I thought it was a move that they had to make just because, especially how they knew in the inside of a lot of the guys and the coaches that he didn't want to bring and couldn't bring in. And then the game management part of it, I mean, it just kind of just was not something that you wanted to kind of deal with your head coach. You can't really manage the game. Coaching staff that was around him, like I said, was not really good. And, they just had a really disappointing season. I mean, nobody really expected them to be this bad. I mean, you can talk about whether you expect them to be mediocre. Of course, some fans always expect the Raiders to make the playoffs. But you weren't expecting them to be 4-13. I mean, going into the year. At least I didn't. I mean, maybe some people did. So I think that had a big part of it, and probably just how the locker room was like mid-season. It was a lot different than it was the end of the season when they started winning a couple games. That they were kind of just given by playing back with quarterbacks. So yeah, I thought AP just didn't really kind of, what I would say, really take the reins for that job and get it done.
I think we lost Mike, but you know what? I was my whole thing with the AP situation. And I know this is. Well, I think we get Mike back real quick. Hold on 1 second. All right, here we go. We got Mike. See, my whole thing with the AP situation was, why hire a guy if you're going to fire him after 1 year? What's the point? And I think the issues with the Raiders, a lot of it has to do with consistency, stability. It's almost like kind of like they knew what they were doing when they hired him. They knew that they just needed 1 year before they were going to hire their guy at head coach. Yeah. It kind of like, it's hindsight, it's 2020 at the end of the day, but I just felt it didn't really make any sense to just fire a guy after 1 year when you knew that he was inexperienced to begin with. It just didn't make any sense. I mean, Mike, did you agree with that move when they fired AP?
Yes and no. In a way, I felt like he was dealt a bad hand, but also there were reasons why I understand why they moved on from him. So it makes sense. I think it was a fair assessment to move on and try something new, but I do feel like they did move on a little too quick without giving him an opportunity to get a quarterback and also keeping his running back, unfortunately.
Right. Well, it's the Tom Brady show. It's the Tom Brady show now, and he's in the building, and it seems like he has a hand in every decision that's the Raiders been making so far. What do you think of the Pete Carroll hire, Marcus?
I like the Pete Carroll hire just because I know he's a good coach. That's what I know. I know that the Raiders are gonna be coached really well. No matter what. I mean, they're gonna be prepared. They're gonna be ready to go. They're gonna get the personnel that he likes, that fits his. He likes to do on defense. I know they still hire Patrick Graham, but Patrick Graham is gonna have to do what Pete Carroll wants to do. Because Pete Carroll's a head coach. The offense is gonna do what the hell he wants to do, and the defense is going to want to do what he wants to do. So it's all going to be really his vision of winning, and it has a long history of winning. He's only, even when he's an NFL coach, he's never lost more than 10 games in a season. So there's a lot of, I would say, upside to Pete Carroll, even though he's an older coach, that maybe, if he does end up leaving at a certain time, that you could kind of replace him with somebody that's in his staff. But that's the upside of it to me. I think that he just wins everywhere he goes. So hopefully you expect him to win with the Raiders.
See, my thing, Mike, bro, I'm not gonna lie. When I seen Pete Carroll's name and Marcus, when I seen his name attached to the Raiders, this dude's 73 years old. He's the oldest coach in NFL history, and it feels like the Raiders are always doing it's like a Raider move. They're always doing something that no one else is doing. And I'm like, automatically when you hire a Pete Carroll, you're thinking about his replacement. Who's going to be replacing him? And I'm like, that goes back to what I was saying about AP and stability being a problem. I mean, Mike, do you see how long do you think Pete Carroll is going to coach the Raiders? Do you see him fulfilling his contract? I mean, I know, did they give him like a 2-3 year deal?
I believe they gave him a 3-year deal. In my opinion, I think he fulfills it. He might even reach possibly a fourth season, maybe. Because even though he's 73 years old, one thing I will say is Pete Carroll got a lot of energy. He's very hyper for a 73-year-old man.
Right.
He brings that energy, and that's why I'm like, in a way, I feel like he'll be able to do well and last the full contract. In my opinion, like Marcus was saying. He's a winner. Everywhere he goes, he's a winner. USC, he went to Seattle. He's won at each of his last couple destinations. So, in my opinion, I like the move, and I think he'll be fine. Because let's be honest, that old man's pretty healthy for his age.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not doubting that. It's just like, my thing is I'm not sure if he makes it to the fourth year. I don't know. It's uncharted territory. He might, but he might not. And that's my thing is damn, you're hiring someone that you kind of know that you're gonna have to replace pretty soon, sooner rather than later. So I'm like, all right, whatever. But now, you know, I was gonna say Champ Kelly, but Chip Kelly gets hired, and automatically when he got hired, I'm like, oh snaps, is this gonna be the next Raiders head coach? I mean, do you see that happening, Marcus, with Chip Kelly being hired at OC?
It could be a possibility of him becoming the head coach. I don't know if he wants to do that anymore. I feel like that's why he is an OC at this point. Because I mean, after the year he had at Ohio State, I mean, he probably could have got any college job that he wanted at that point. So I think him making the move to the NFL, I think he just wants to stick as an OC. But you know, going back to Pete Carroll a little bit, I do want to say that the Raiders didn't have a lot of choices.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they didn't have a lot of. I mean, I guess Liam Cohen. I mean, yeah, but like it just wasn't like a big market for that. But I think what Pete Carroll does is he brings in a Chip Kelly, right? And I think Chip Kelly's going to really, you know, help this running game. You know, the passing game is going to be something I'm looking into, try to see what he does a lot better there. Just because, you know, it's a lot of play action based. So if they can't run the ball, then it's going to be a little interesting to see what he could do as a play caller in the passing game. But the run game should be great. And if the Raiders are smart, they'll grab one of these damn running backs in this draft. I don't know who the hell it is. Yeah. If they're smart, we'll see how smart John Spytek is early on. If he doesn't grab one of these guys, I'm going to look at him a little funny. So, but
yeah, no, facts. 100%.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, that's so important, Chip Kelly, too. So, I mean, there's nobody in the free agency that I was like, yeah, that guy's going to do it. I mean, you might as well just grab one of these guys that's coming out.
No.
So.
Nah, facts. You're right. I mean, there wasn't really a whole lot of options. I mean, but, you know, a lot of people love the move. But that's to me, I take it as like a lot of people are, you know, it's Pete Carroll, kind of his reputation over the years, man. He's an all-time coach. You know, he's won with USC. He won with Seattle. Like he's probably going to go into Hall of Fame, possibly. He's going to have a good chance. I mean, he's won like what? I think he won like one Super Bowl, right? So he's going to
one Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, and he coached one of the greatest defenses probably in recent memory, modern NFL history. I mean, like with the Legion and Boom. So a lot of people are going to be big fans of the move. But and I think was it The Athletic? I think they talked to like executives around the NFL, and they ranked him the number 3 best hire at head coach. Number 1 was the guy that got hired with the Patriots. I'm trying to think of his name.
Oh, Vrabel.
They have Vrabel number 1. Number 2, obviously Ben Johnson. What did you think, Ben Johnson? Were you all in on that hype? I mean, was that your number 1 move?
I mean, yeah, I did want Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson's scared. What scared me about Ben Johnson is that like he just comes up under Adam Gase, so you kind of get Adam Gase vibes from him a little bit. But I mean, he was a little innovative, and you know,
his presser was disgusting.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, it was weird. The offense, I never. To be honest, like when I watched Ben Johnson, and then I said this on my show, so you can't be like I'm backtracking here just because they didn't hire him. Even when I watched him like in 2023, because they played the Raiders in 2023, I even said that to Matt that I wasn't that impressed with his passing game. So like, yeah, you know, Ben Johnson was able to run the ball and have that mentality, but we'll see how he does with the Bears. But there was always a little iffiness with his offense, like would it like move outside of what the Lions like to do? So, but we'll see how he goes.
I mean, Mike, look, I feel like Raider fans were really good going all in on whoever the guy is being targeted at the time. It could be a quarterback. It could be a head coach. And as soon as we don't get the guy, we're like, man, that dude's trash anyways. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, were you big on it, Ben Johnson?
I'll be honest. At first, I didn't think it was possible. I didn't want to believe it, but once like the rumors started like coming out, like we're in the lead, there's a good chance that he signs that deal with us. That's when I started to like really like buy into the hype, and I was like, all right, we're gonna get Ben Johnson.
Right.
Got a little overconfident, but yeah, I was disappointed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was disappointed when the moment, like literally the day after or 2 days after he got eliminated, just all right, cool, I'm going to Chicago.
Right.
It sucked. It felt like if like that person you thought was looking at you and it's like, oh nah, I want the person behind you. Actually, my bad. Move out the way.
Right.
It was messed up.
Yeah, no, it was, but it's funny though, because when I think Albert Breer, he reported that Ben Johnson let teams know that, he let the teams know that he didn't want, respectfully, like, I don't want to make you guys look bad by me declining the interview. Don't request one so I don't have to decline it. But Tom Brady did it anyways. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And that's where all the hype came from. It was pretty much the Raiders kind of creating that hype. And then the agent ran with it, I guess, and used it for leverage and got a good contract with the Chicago Bears. But it is what it is. The Raiders, when you don't have a quarterback, it's kind of hard to really attract like the top offensive coaches, because that's really what they are trying to get. I mean, especially with Tom Brady leading the Raiders right now. I mean, like, Marcus, what do you think of Tom Brady? Do you think that it makes sense for him to be in the building and have, leading his friend? Do you think it's a good move by the Raiders having Tom Brady as an owner?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good move in the sense where, he has football knowledge, right? That's in the sense of that. But, when it comes to like these, superstar big time players, right? And they're like, especially when you're like Tom Brady, you're on Michael Jordan's level when it comes to the NFL, right? And you kind of, you saw how Michael Jordan was as an owner and some of the players that he took, right? Sometimes it's like they have this outlook that players should be like them. Like, you hear Tom Brady talk about how he prepared and stuff. Like, not everybody's as insane as you are. If you read any books about Tom Brady, he's insane. He's literally insane. So sometimes that can come up, with a couple of things, and maybe he wants to, go a different way than, maybe that is like with something, maybe with like modern football or something like that. But what's been happening so far, I mean, it's been good. So I can't say anything too bad with him right now at this point. But it like when we get to like players and who they pick up in free agency, I think that's when we can start really dissecting his impact on this team.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Like I want to buy into it. I mean, it seemed like he had Ben Johnson thinking like, maybe I should go to the Raiders, even though they don't have a quarterback. And, we all know that, the coaches are going to be, the coach quarterback tandem is so important in the NFL. Like, that's going to determine if you're going to win. And coaches don't want to take that risk because they know they're going to take all the blame. Look at AP. He didn't get a quarterback. And look, he only had 1 year to coach. Like, it's crazy. He probably thought he was going to come back a second year and probably grab another quarterback. And Telesco the same way, too. Telesco didn't even address. Like, were you surprised when Telesco got fired?
I mean, to be fair, they signed Gardner Minshew. I mean, that was, I mean, nobody made him do that. So I just want to say that. But go ahead, Mike.
Bruh, man.
Nobody made him do that. I don't.
Man, and it was on the first day, Mike. It was on the first day. They went ahead and signed Minshew on the first day, like he was the number one target before Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
Wilkins got, I think, bigger deal, I think, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. When they signed
Minshew,
Minshew,
it was the same day. It was the same
my
day.
first thought was, my first thought process was, okay, they got to be going after a rookie. They got to be going after like Jaden or somebody. They got to be having a plan to trade up, because there's no way Gardner Minshew that's the end all be all. That's going to be QB1. I couldn't believe it.
Nah.
And man, well, Marcus, you went to training camp. We both went on different days, and that QB battle, the competition was rough, bro. So the fact that they were even able to make a decision on who to be the quarterback between those two, it was bad.
Right.
It was bad, man.
Space Beast, we are alive, man. We are alive for sure. We're alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to what's going on now with the Raiders. I mean, they hired Chip Kelly. He's going to be the offensive coordinator. That's going to be huge, because now I thought they were going to draft a QB last year, but I'm hoping they're going to draft a QB this year, someone that they can develop. Yeah. But before they even do that, I think Minshew's gone. We can all agree, right? Minshew's he better be packing his bag.
Yeah,
like,
he's. I don't expect to see Minshew back. Bro. I think
it's probably gonna be like a June 1st cut, because I think he's locked into a contract that he signed last year. But that's neither here nor there.
That
whatever.
Maybe even he could even get like an injury settlement or something like that.
And what is like 10 mil dead cap? Who cares? Fuck it.
Well, injury settlement, like, man, You know, it's crazy. It's crazy that you mentioned injury settlement because that's what happened with we lucked out. That's what happened with I think Jimmy. That's how I think we got out that deal because he whatever, I don't know, he slipped and fell and it was his fault. Whatever. I don't know what happened. It was something crazy.
Himself.
Yeah, he did something where he kind of nullified his contract. It was crazy. Like I don't know. Maybe the Raiders probably paid him under the table because that was such a crazy coincidence for them to get out of that. That was a bad deal. But that being said, the Raiders still got a question mark at quarterback.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers was recently let go by the Jets. 41-year-old quarterback. Brady was in the same type of predicament. You know what I mean? He could look at a Aaron Rodgers and be like, you know what? Here's a 1-year deal. Whenever he becomes available. He hasn't officially been released from the team, but I know they announced that they're going to be parting ways. Stafford, there's, he could be on the move possibly, but that's kind of like, why would you trade Stafford? I mean, who's going to be the replacement? But there's Stafford and then Sam Darnold. And I seen Marcus that you've been posting Sam Darnold clips and breaking them down. Marcus, man, like if you had to choose out of those three quarterbacks, there's more. There's obviously other free agent quarterbacks, but let's start there. Like, which quarterback were you leaning towards picking up?
I mean, out of those three, Stafford easy. Stafford's still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, if you actually go to no, think about it. If you actually go, you get to 4, right? Like you get Burrow, Jackson, Allen, Mahomes, right? Who's 5? it's him. I mean, it's not like he is a top 5. I'm not saying he's a top 5 quarterback.
My bad. Go down the list again. I didn't hear the first 4.
You got Jackson, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, right? Those are probably your top 4 guys. You would say. Who would you have over those guys?
Right now, honestly, it's I might be saying it a little too soon. I might be tripping, but I'd say Jaden. Say Jaden Daniels at 5.
Yeah. See, Ricky's got to do it twice for me. So
where do you put Jalen? Where do you put Jalen in your top whatever? Where is he?
Jalen,
top 10?
I got to watch film on Jalen because I was high on Jalen after 2022. 2023 he fell off a lot. And it's more because they decided they thought that he could be this full-time passer, which he's not. That's not his game. And this year they went back up to how they used him in 2022, and they won the Super Bowl this year. So they went to the Super Bowl with him being a runner, dual threat guy, not passing a lot the run game. 2023 they decided, hey, let's see how much you could pass. He threw 13 picks. Then the next year, like, okay, let's go back to the run game type stuff, and he was really good. So I want to watch a film before I get to his full ranking, but I had him top 10. I think I had him 7 going into 2023. So I'm high on Jalen, but you just I think when people watch Matthew Stafford, I mean, you just have to watch his film. Like he's just so damn good right now. And if the Raiders traded for him, like my expectations would be through the roof. And I don't know how many years he got left, but his arm is still as live as hell. Those Ram teams are not that good. I mean, if you want to keep it real, they're really not that good. And they have Matthew Stafford. And Stafford's not a top 5 quarterback. And he is a top 5 quarterback by default because everybody else retired. So he just got pushed up. So he was always number 11 when the big dogs are in there. But he's been pushed up because there's nobody really around him that is, I would say, like as consistent as he is. So that's why I would be on Stafford easy. Like if they had a choice between that, I mean, the Raiders would become a whole lot better right away. So,
and you had me thinking because, all right, the top 5 I agree with. I mean, it's the 4 that you said, but then there's a CJ Stroud. He took a step back this year. Everybody's kind of was projecting him a little bit, and then he took a step big. The second year struggles. You put in Jaden. Jaden is just 1 year. We gotta give him. Gotta slow down. See, the only thing I know I was out of the year though, man. I agree with you. Out of the 3 that I said I want Stafford, but what is it gonna take to get Stafford? Yeah. What is it gonna take? Is it worth it? Are you saying that it's worth it because it's gonna take draft capital, and the Raiders kind of low key. They're not in no position to be giving up draft capital because they don't have the depth. They don't have the talent. They need that. They need the capital to build this team. I mean, when you can sign maybe an Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year deal, when you can sign, either way, we can all agree that we're still drafting a QB.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I think it. My bad, Matt. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go for it, bro. Go for it. I'll go after. Go ahead.
What I would say, it depends on who they sign. If they sign Sam Darnold, that's when I was like, step back from drafting a quarterback a little bit, because he's 27, right? He is coming off his best season. That's an investment in him as a future starter. Like it's people are gonna be like, he's the new Baker Mayfield. You're gonna hear it probably in the media, Baker Mayfield, you know what I mean? And he had the same yada yada yada, 3 different teams, all that other stuff. And I think that's more of an investment. That's why that's why I'm not like a Sam Darnold guy. If it was Sam Darnold a 1 year, I'd be like, okay, cool, we'll do that. But like, that is like a $40 million 3-year deal type of thing, right? That the Raiders would do. And you're playing him for 2 years. You're going to take like Mason Graham or Will Johnson or somebody at 6 or somebody like that. You're not, and then maybe you'll take a quarterback, maybe like later on. Maybe they take Will Howard to back him up or something like that later on in the draft. But it would be a Sam Darnold led football team, and I just don't know how much I feel about that. That's.
Yeah, I'm not big on Darnold because he only had 1 year. Like this is his best year of his career. Like, and in all the other years, he was either a backup, he's been a disappointment, and you got to factor in Kevin O'Connell, like one of the best offensive minds, play callers in football. Like that right there should tell you everything you need to know. I just think it would be a bad risk to give all, because you can think about it. Like Jimmy G got the contract that he got, and he's been, injured pretty much most of his career leading up to the point where McDaniels gave him that contract, which is crazy, but they gave him that contract. Imagine what a Darnold would get. He's gonna get a nice deal. Probably what Derek Carr a few years ago got $40 million a year. Like the market goes up every year. So what is it gonna be? 50, 60? I mean, 60 for Darnold? Like, that's tough, man. I don't know. I don't want to do that at all, man. Because think about it. Because one of the good things about drafting a young QB is having on that rookie deal. So now you could start building around him and putting money and resources, all around the team. But the Raiders don't have to go with those 3. So you didn't mention Aaron Rodgers. None of y'all said Aaron Rodgers. Y'all passed on Aaron?
I got you.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
So, I mean, I do like the idea of Stafford, but like you were saying, the price, and then knowing we're probably going to have to give him a new deal, that likely means he's going to be QB1 for a while. So you're not looking at any of these. More than likely, that rookie's not going to, whatever rookie you get, he's not going to see the field for quite some time. It might be like a Jordan Love type situation where towards the end of his rookie deal, and then you're going to have to pay him or make a decision. Do you keep Stafford? So it's like, I don't know if I want to take that chance. In my opinion, I feel like if you're getting Stafford, that means you're going like all in, like you're trying to win now. Like you feel like you have a very short window and you have to get to the promised land then and accomplish it. If not, but I would say honestly, the fact now that I know that he's gonna get cut, I wouldn't, even though he's a little crazy, I would be open to the idea of Aaron Rodgers for the low. For the low, to have him maybe on a 1 year, maybe 2 year deal as your bridge quarterback, and then that still gives you an opportunity to possibly, if you want to trade up for one of these quarterbacks, or if you want to get best player available and you get say like a Jackson Dart or a Will Howard or something, like who knows? But in my opinion, I feel like you should at least try and be aggressive going for one of the top guys. In my opinion, if you're trying to like build something and build around one of them, and I feel like you could probably do that with either like an Aaron Rodgers or even another name that wasn't mentioned, and maybe even like a Justin Fields, somebody that it's low risk on the payment and possibly a high reward. It could pay off. Right,
because it's a low investment. You know what I mean? You don't really have to go all in and get a quarterback. But like, man, like we started talking about Pete Carroll earlier. We said he's like 70-something years. I don't think he's here to rebuild. I think he's here to win now. So if he's here to win now, he's going to want to get a quarterback, whoever at that spot. I mean, the GM hopefully is going to be thinking like long term, and probably he's going to draft a QB to develop. But I think as far as a veteran, he's going to want someone that he can win now. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Raiders do, because when you hear Adam Schefter, who apparently he doesn't miss because he was the only one that said that Ben Johnson wasn't coming to the Raiders.
Yeah.
He's basically saying that the Raiders are going to be a player in Darnold, and they do have the cap space to sign Darnold.
On that one,
it
could be true, but I don't think they actually are. I think it's more so just probably a guess, because at the moment for current free agents, he probably is likely the best available at this time.
Right.
So it's more like an educated guess, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily going after Sam Darnold, because who knows? Maybe they might not even be interested in Sam Darnold or paying him that much money, because he did only have, so far it's only been one good year like that. We got to see more, in my opinion. And who knows if Minnesota even wants to move on from Sam Darnold? They might want to keep him.
Yeah. And I think someone was saying, you know what? This is actually a good one. Just Another DJ, he said, Marcus, would you put Stafford over Baker or Goff? Well, Baker, I mean, I'll take Stafford, but Goff has been playing lights out the last couple of seasons, or especially last season. Do you think that's more of a Ben Johnson effect, or Goff is playing?
I think Goff needs a running game. Stafford doesn't. That's what I would say. If I had to go, which guy? If I had no running game that game, and I needed to throw 45 times, which one am I picking? I'm going Stafford. I would trust Stafford to throw the ball 45 times, and if you can't run the ball and get a win, then Goff. I feel like if you do that with Goff, you're losing. So Goff has to be controlled. Yeah, is Goff a high-level elite game manager? Yes, but he is not like he's going to take over a football game if you're down type of guy, which Stafford could. Stafford could throw like 450 yards and do something crazy like he did against the Bills. You know what I mean? When he's playing against the Bills this year, where he just goes off. And it's not really a run game or play action. It's just him dropping back and just chopping teams apart. And that's the difference between Stafford, I think. So, yeah. Man, Goff, you need that play action run game. You know, Stafford is more like, especially like when you're down too. If like you're down 10 points in the fourth quarter, like Stafford is historically, I mean, he did it like through his whole playoff run when he won Super Bowl. He gets it done. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to like about Stafford, in my opinion, and especially when you have like Brock Bowers and like Jacoby Myers and then of course Trey Tucker, which I like. Actually having somebody to throw the ball deep to him would be exciting.
Yeah. So it's almost sounds like you would give up that first round pick for Stafford.
Number 6, I don't know. Maybe like 2026 first round pick. I don't know about 2025. I would take the bet that he's going to be good and give him that 2026.
Yeah, for real. That's funny.
Honestly, the most I'd give up for Stafford is probably like maybe 2 seconds. But even then, I'm like, I don't know. I'd love to have Stafford, but the fact that you're giving up that much capital and you still have to pay him a new deal, that's kind of tough. I'd rather, honestly, if I'm spending that capital, I'd rather invest into a rookie. At least you're going to have him for 5 years, and it's going to be cheaper, and you're going to be able to build around him.
Nah,
I feel like that would be probably the better investment.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't want to. It's just the draft capital. Like I don't mind paying Stafford. Because I don't think his contract is going to be that long. I mean, I don't know what he's getting paid or how many years he has left on his current deal. But let's say if he had to get a new contract, if he gets a 2-year deal, I don't mind that, because he's like in his late 30s. So I think, and if they draft a young QB, and Mike, earlier you said that you really didn't like. You were saying that you really didn't like that the quarterback would have to stay on the bench. Which, you know what, I think that's a benefit if he could stay on the bench and develop and learn, because a guy like Tom Brady, I think there's clips of him like literally talking about how like he doesn't like how the quarterback position is being developed and guys are getting thrown out there. You know what I mean? There's a clip that out there where he's talking like that. So I could see, I wouldn't be mad at the Raiders getting a young QB and letting him develop. You know what I mean? Because, be honest with you, this is not really the perfect draft class. I mean, is there any guys that you guys like to come play that could play well right away, or do you feel like this draft class, a lot of it is these guys need to develop?
I think Sanders can play right away.
Shador?
I mean, yeah, Shador Sanders, and to be honest, like I don't see. I think the Raiders are going to pick Sanders. There's really nothing that tells me that they're not. I
Right.
think he's going to fall to them at 6. I think he's going to be there. So, just the way the other players in this draft are, I think he's going to fall. And then the Raiders really like him already. And Tom Brady's a big fan. I basically have him penciled in at 6. I just don't see how if they pass on him, I would be shocked. But I just don't think he's going to be that guy where he goes like top 5, like a lot of people are thinking, or he's going to go top 2. Or like I think the quarterbacks, the quarterback's not going to be taken until after that because teams the NFL is just not high on this quarterback class. So
who
I still think that
Abdul or Trav?
Who I think goes 1 at this point? Abdul Carter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that pick at 1. Honestly, I was even thinking Travis, but yeah, after watching enough film on Abdul Carter, bro, no, that dude's insane.
Sorry, just a side note, but how much better is Travis Hunter than Will Johnson? How much better? Are we sure about that?
And the thing is too, like everybody talks about
that's fair, yeah.
Everybody talks about Travis Hunter playing 2 positions, which is crazy talented. But when it comes to the NFL, realistically, he's gonna play 1.
Yeah, he's going to the combine as a corner.
He's gonna play corner. Okay, so then at that point, then you could size up Will Johnson but some people got Will Johnson dropping low key. But it's early though.
I mean,
it's early.
I watched kind of shocking. I watched this film, and in 2 of the 3 games he had a pick 6. So I don't know what we're watching. Like, he played 3 games this year, had 2 pick 6s. Like, what do we do? When I was like, there's some things like, okay, maybe it because he reminds me of like a super souped up Nate Hobbs. That's what he kind of reminds me of. So, like, because he tackles really well, but he's more of a playmaker. So, like, he just has a knack for the football. Like, he has 9 interceptions in his career. Like, this is not just some guy who's maybe he not. Even with like a pick 6 I posted on Twitter, right? I think like an hour ago, he like outran his whole defensive team. So I don't know if he's. I could say his little maybe stiff hips a little bit, but like he's just. The Raiders play zone. So since the Raiders play zone, I don't have a problem with them taking him at 6, and I think he'd be a stud. So, but you can move him outside, inside.
Yeah.
Right. If it's not quarterback at number 6, you could see corner because Pete Carroll, you know what I mean? Him being with the Seattle Seahawks, building out that secondary, he wants a cornerback there because that's a big question mark too. Is do the Raiders have a number 1 corner? If not, where do they go? How do they upgrade that position? I don't know what free agency looks like when it comes to corners. I don't think there's a lot of options, if any. So most likely it might be the draft possibly, but. Will they spend a first round pick? We'll figure that out. Yeah. But going back to Tom Brady, because he's gonna have a hand at we played this last 50-50 show every Tuesday with me and Severe. We played a clip from Tom Brady talking about like what his superpower was, and I thought it was interesting. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about it, man.
The part of. I was 2 weeks of watching film. Friday night, I was just going through the film more. I knew Kansas City's defense better than they knew themselves. I knew their body movements, the way their linebackers moved, the way their safeties moved. Tyrann Mathieu, Nick Sorensen, Shavarius Ward. I knew everything they were doing. I got out there on the field. I looked up as I was walking the line of scrimmage, I said, okay, they're blitzing. And then I was dealing with it right away. I walked up, I said, okay, they're going to bail to cover 2. Ball will snap, cover 2. And I knew I had the answers to the test. That's where I was great. That's where my magic superpower was. It wasn't how fast I could run. It was how fast I could diagnose what they were doing. What's the special quality? What's the internet speed of me as a quarterback? Fast as I was Starlink before Starlink. Now other guys, if it's a slow processing speed, well, he's going to get you. And the reality is I could figure out what they were doing before they did it because that's how I learned to play the game. And that's how I believe most quarterbacks should play the game. Unfortunately, as we've talked about, most quarterbacks aren't playing the game like that anymore. They're fast when they get out of the pocket, when they have to make decisions, but I didn't snap the ball unless I knew what they were doing. and if my guys are going to be open. The one benefit you have as a quarterback, before you snap the ball, you know where everybody on your team is running. If you have 5 eligibles out in the route, I know where all 5 are going. If I look at the defense and I say, none of my guys are going to be open based on this coverage, we didn't design the play for this coverage, I don't need to snap the ball. I can run something different. I can check to a run. I can check to a screen. I can signal a receiver and change a route. And then I would just change the route to a route that I thought would be open. I'd catch the ball, I'd throw it, and it'd be a 15-yard gain. Everyone would be like, God, it looks so easy. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's easy because you're not paying attention to the right thing.
Right.
What's going on in here is what my superpower was. That was Peyton Manning's superpower. That was Drew Brees' superpower. Those were the guys that I tried to be like. That's what we did a great job of. So that part of the game is what I am really fascinated by. And when I see players play like that, those are the guys that I think have the most upside.
When I heard that, I was like, all right, well, Jalen Miro is not going to be drafted by the Raiders.
Yeah. So,
damn. Yeah, go ahead.
The attention to detail is crazy, man. He reminded me of an athlete, not a football player, but one player that I'm very familiar with, that just the attention to detail, paying attention to the opposing team's tendencies, stuff like that. Just like he had the advantage, bro. Like little shit like that it was the little shit like that really it took people's games to another level. And one guy I would say that he reminded me of when he's speaking like that is Kobe. Honestly, that was like that straight killer mentality where it's like, bro, I'm gonna be ready for whatever you got. Like
they're insane. That's how they're like crazy. Like they're that passionate about the game to the point where they're gonna do all the little things. But so listening to that clip, Marcus, like, I mean, is it still Shedeur Sanders in your mind that he's talking about in this clip, that he sees that, or is that something that you can't see in a quarterback at this point in their career, but because they have to develop that. That's a skill that you have to develop over time.
Yeah. He's talking shit about Josh Allen. He just didn't say his name. Because Josh Allen he's basically said, I would have saw that blitz at the other game, which is fair, because I knew that blitz is Trip McDuffie's inside, they're blitzing. Like that's what the Chiefs do. So, but that's what he was really doing. But when you hear him, like, there's a report by Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports. I don't know if you read this report, but he was talking about the Raiders' future at quarterback, and he had this big part of the article talk about Shedeur Sanders and the Tom Brady connection. And the reason why Tom Brady loves him so much is because he's so prepared, and the way he prepares himself, and his mental part of his game, and he sees a lot of himself in him. Sheesh. And Shedeur is trained to be prepared, just like Travis Hunter is. Those guys are ready to go. They have NFL pedigree, and what pushes teams maybe away is that Shedeur carries himself like a wide receiver. He carries himself like he's AJ Brown instead of Russell Wilson. So since he has that wide receiver diva kind of personality mixed in with quarterback, a lot of teams don't like that. But I think Tom Brady still likes him a lot. Shedeur is never like not prepared. Like you can even tell what he's watching when you watch him on film, that he's a prepared guy. He knows where to go with the football. He gets rid of the ball. I'm not gonna say gets rid of the ball quick. That's a lie. But like he does know where to go with the football. It's just with his film too. I know I'm getting a little Shedeur Sanders side rant. I think his film in 2023 is totally different than 2024. Like him in 2023 is like very mechanically sound, accurate all the time. I mean, he was getting beat. He's getting his ass kicked a lot. So when he came into 2024, his drop got a little lazier and those type of things. So that's why I think teams are gonna kind of, nitpick at him, and he's gonna be there for the Raiders at 6 because the Raiders love him. So but I think if you get 2023 Shedeur Sanders, where his mechanics are perfect and he's just accurate, not missing any pass,
he's going one.
He would have if he played like that. But I think his offensive line had him doing a lot of things that he had to adjust to kind of make them better. But go ahead.
I'll be honest with you, and I would love to see him fall to 6, but I feel like we were saying too with Brady and obviously the connection there. I feel like if that's really his guy and he really wants him, I think he might even be bold enough to just trade up to 1 and go get him. one or two, whichever one of those is open to trading. I feel like he might be bold enough to do it and just, hey man, if that's your guy and you're that confident in him, go get him. Because what if he doesn't even make it to 6? Then what? And that was what you were banking on. That was your big plan this whole time.
See, my thing is that with Shedeur is like, what's his ceiling? What type of player can he be? What, like, does he have that ability to be a top 5 QB? You know what I mean? I would want someone with a little bit higher ceiling. And that's why it sucks that the Raiders are now ready to draft the QB, and then we're kind of in it's a shitty QB class. I mean, it ain't the best QB class. I mean, if it was last year, I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that it makes sense to trade up for a QB? I know, Mike, you just said that if it's your guy, go ahead and trade up. But I mean, Marcus, do you agree with that?
Not for Shedeur. Just because I feel like Shedeur is like.
Ideally, I want Cam Ward. Ideally, but in my opinion, it's like if you can't choose between the two, it's better to trade up to one, and then that way you could really decide like, okay, which one do I like better? Because in my opinion, I feel like both guys could really fit the system that Chip Kelly's running, and I also feel like they would be great options moving forward as franchise guys. Like after that, the rest of the list of the QBs, that's where it gets a little shaky, and you're like, okay, I don't know what to expect. They're likely going to be developmental projects.
Yeah, because I would say with Sanders, I think Sanders he's a point guard at quarterback, right? So it's not like something that he's not going to be explosive. You know, I've seen some Teddy Bridgewater comps that I like. I kind of lean a little bit towards Tua a little bit more because I think his arm's a little stronger than that. But, you know, Tua is successful, right? So, like, when you look at it that way, you know, will the Raiders have a successful quarterback? Yes, I think Shedeur Sanders would be a successful quarterback. Is he going to be C.J. Stroud? Like, no, I don't think so. I think those guys just when you watch them on film and you compare them, it's just not even like the same type of thing. And that's kind of the issue. And I've always liked Cam Ward. I'm really high on Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is legit. But, you know, I don't know how this quarterback class is going to go, man. I mean, like, because there's guys who are intriguing to me, but they're like super old. So it's going to be weird. I don't know.
Yeah. Brady doesn't want Cam Ward, man. He doesn't want Cam Ward. We just heard him just he
Cam Ward's a dog, man. I don't know.
He might. No. Hey, he just might.
I would want Cam Ward too, just because, like I said, there's a ceiling there. There's a potential there. Like, oh, okay, we can have our version of the, you know, the athletic quarterback at that position, because that's where the league is at right now. But Tom Brady's still he's still like thinking like it's you know, NFL back in 2005 where everybody's a pocket passer, drop back, read a defense. You know, like you gotta have that. I don't know if these quarterbacks have that skill set, or if they do, they need time to develop that. I'm not sure. Even Jalen Hurts, right now, like when you watch him play the quarterback position, like he got it done, and I don't think he's out there trying to read the defense. I think it's just, I mean, like he went out there and I mean he plays big in big games. I give him that.
Yeah.
But
see the thing with Cam Ward though is he is clutch, and I feel like that's a big like trait that a lot of people just kind of push off of quarterbacks. Like you see that the nerds, the analytics, they're like, clutch, it doesn't matter. But nah, when Cam Ward, and it's the fourth quarter, like the Cal game, he turned it on. The Virginia Tech, you go watch the Virginia Tech film, like it's the fourth quarter, they're not playing well, he turned it on. Like he's like, I'm not gonna be stopped. And I think that mentality is something that Tom Brady would like. I think just that like was it the tenacity and that will to win is huge, and that's why I really like Cam Ward. Like, we can talk about all the other stuff. We can talk about his arm, all the other stuff. Nah,
he just has that it factor, man.
Yeah, when it's time to go, he goes. It doesn't matter who he's throwing to. You know what I mean? Like that's what he does. And you know that Miami team was not good, and they almost made the playoffs. You know what I mean? So that's the thing with Cam Ward, why I really like him. But we'll see what the Raiders do. But I think they're gonna have a chance at Sanders at 6, just because everything we're talking about. His ceiling, his personality, right?
Right.
Are these? I mean, it all depends where Cam goes first, but you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Nah, it's
that's
gonna be
also why I
interesting.
feel like they might trade up, just because what if they don't want to play that game of risking, like what if one of those quarterbacks doesn't fall to us, whether they're hoping or it doesn't matter if it's Shador or Cam at 6, but what if neither one makes it? And one thing I did notice is besides obviously Tennessee needing an edge rusher on that defense, they after the first overall pick, they don't have another pick until the 4th round. So they could use some picks. And from 1 to 6, I don't think that price is going to be as crazy as what we've had to imagine before when we finished 13th or 17th or something like that to possibly trade up. I feel like at 6, it might not be too hefty of a price.
So what would you think that, let's say 4 after the Giants and Shador still on the board, Giants, let's say, drafted Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I think that's where everybody's kind of like putting Cam Ward at, like, and they got Tennessee taking Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter right now. But let's say Shador's on the board and it's pick number 4. You think Raiders trading up number 4, Mike?
I think so, just because there are teams behind them that could possibly get aggressive and want to jump past them. For example, another team that, who knows, maybe a shocking team like San Francisco might want to take the risk and be like, you know what, I don't want to pay Brock Purdy this much. I'm gonna just trade up right there, and I'm gonna get one of these guys. I'm gonna get Cam Ward or Shador, whoever's right there.
Right.
So at that point, it's like I feel like you should be aggressive and do that. But in my opinion, I think first or second overall should be the goal. Try and trade up right there. That way, if one of them's on the board, at least you know you're guaranteed one of them. If both of them are on the board, right there, you could really make a decision. And in my opinion, you can't go wrong with either one. I feel like they're both different style quarterbacks to an extent, but they both get the job done.
Right.
And I feel like both of them could start. In my opinion, I would like more than likely for one of them to, or either one of them, I'd understand if they sat for like a year at least, then I'd be totally fine with that too. I get it. But I feel like if worst came to worst, like say whatever vet they brought in, or if it's AOC that they battle out with, I feel like one of those guys could start or possibly beat them out to be the day one starter. And if it comes to that circumstance, I get it. But I don't want to be where it's like you're just straight handed the starting spot immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I gotta at least have some confidence that you know the offense, you know what you're doing before you go out there.
Yeah, and you know what? I think with Jalen winning the Super Bowl, I think the Eagles shown that you could win a Super Bowl without having a top 5 QB. You just got to have one of the best squads of all time. Like they got you got to have all pros at every level, wide receiver, running back, offensive line, D line, secondary. You know what I mean? If you're gonna be rocking with a Shador, which I mean, Max, Marcus? Do you think it's gonna be like top 10? His ceiling is top 10 at best. I don't see top 5 for Shador. I don't see top 5.
I don't know. It depends. It depends on how he just gets in the NFL and how he's used.
Because you compare him to Tua.
So I mean, but like I said, I mean, sometimes Tua looks like everybody's like, oh, Tua's top 10. Sometimes Tua's this. So it all depends how he looks with the certain coach that he gets. He has to go to a right system, in my opinion. Like he just can't go with anybody. But I think he's a fit with Chip Kelly because I think Chip Kelly can really design a lot of plays for him to get the ball out of his hands quick. Because if Shador Sanders gets the ball out of his hands quick, he's going to be really good. But it's just not going to be like you're just not going to get like those 60-yard deep passes, right? It's going to be a lot of intermediate play action, hitting the dig route, quick slant type of thing. You gotta have to build around it. Like John Gruden would eat with Shador Sanders. It's that type of thing. Like it has to be like that type of system where, and it's funny. Mike brought up, Kyle Shanahan traded up, but that would be perfect for him. That would be perfect for Shador Sanders. Like if he went to Mike Shanahan or something like that. So it has to be that type of offense, and that's why you can maximize his talent. But if you're expecting him to stretch the field, then I would tell you that you're not really playing to his skill set. That's what I would say.
outside of the fit with Tom Brady and what type of quarterback he would be looking for, what would be the perfect fit for Chip Kelly and his offense? I know he can make it work with all types of quarterbacks because he's quoted to say like I'm going to make it work and make go ahead.
I don't want to sound like a broken record. I'd say Shador just because with Chip Kelly, it's really like a quick pace, like quick release offense, and that's one thing that I would say Shador Sanders does really well is he gets the ball out of his hands pretty quickly. I mean, there are times, don't get me wrong, he did have some plays, obviously, where he ended up 37 yards backfield, but also his O-line was his O-line. I don't think the O-line will be as big of an issue as it was over there.
You don't think mobility will be a factor? I mean, Marcus, you want to chime in?
It's gonna be a little bit of a factor, but I think Shador is not like at the point where he won't keep the ball on his own read. I mean that happens a couple times at Colorado where he's running in for touchdowns, especially around the goal line. So he's not like a fast guy, but I think Cam Ward gets kind of pushed up for like having how fast he is, or like he'd be a lot faster than Shador Sanders. I don't think he's that much faster than Shador Sanders. So, but the easy one when you go who fits with Chip Kelly, I guess it's Will Howard, I guess, right? I mean, because he played with him, that'd be the easy fit, right?
Yeah.
He does everything that Will Howard like to do. But like, I agree with Mike. I think Shador, out of the top guys, I think Shador would be the better fit just for what Chip Kelly likes to do. Because Chip Kelly is very West Coast at this point. Like he's not as much Oregon. He's more like boring play action under center West Coast at this point. So that's why I think he'd be a better fit for Shador. So
I thought y'all was gonna say Cam Ward, but all right, okay.
Honestly,
okay.
I'd be cool with Cam Ward too. I just feel like I don't know, just the type of offense that I seen Shador kind of thriving in Colorado this past year. There was a lot of quick pace, quick release, like he said, that West Coast style offense.
Okay.
And I feel like he would be a better fit there, but honestly, either one, you can't go wrong. I feel like he would be able to adapt, whether it be Cam Ward adapt to that style offense that Chip Kelly runs, or Chip Kelly adapts his offense, the Cam Ward's play style, to make it play a little more to his strengths, which I feel like he'll be able to do fine in that offense. Just I feel like Shador's more of like a plug and play, like he's perfect for that type of offense.
Okay. Well, let's move it along, man. Hey, look, we're going to be plenty of time to talk about what quarterbacks would fit with the Raiders offense, the whole offseason ahead of us. But right now, free agency is about a month away, I think. And the Raiders have their own free agents that they need to sign. They have like over almost 100 million. I think, no, not 92 million. But I think if they make some cuts, like especially their Gardner Minshew contract, it pushes them to 100 million. They got their own free agents to sign. So I got something over here. Shout out to Raiders Beat. And we're gonna look at some of what they did was they used Spot Track as a way to project what a contract would look like for their free agents this year. And then we'll look at it and see if it makes sense and if the Raiders should sign them. Obviously, we'll start up with the most obvious one. Let me go ahead and share this real quick. Boom, boom. There we go. All right, man. Let's start with the most important guy in the building right now, Max Crosby. His contract is set as 3-year, $97.9 million. Do you see this as a realistic deal, or is it going to be way bigger than this?
He's gonna get paid a lot of money. I think he's gonna get like 30 mil or something like that. I don't know if he's gonna get like the Myles Garrett money. Maybe he will. Maybe they do that. I mean, he is he is the Raiders at this point, so that's why I don't think they're gonna trade him, because that would be kind of, to me, just getting rid of the Raiders. You trade the Raiders.
Right.
So that's why I think they're gonna give him a lot of money. That's why I think he's smiling right now, because he knows it. So. He wasn't smiling before Pete Carroll came in. Now he smiles and what are you talking about? Yeah, I wasn't talking shit about leaving. You guys. So he's getting big money. I'm not worried about him. He'll get his money.
Nah, yeah, he get it. But if you look at the contract, it's like 3 years, $97.9 million. I think if you average that out, that's like at least $30 million a season technically. Possibly might get a longer contract. I mean, it's kind of hard to predict, but I would think that he probably would want long-term security, but maybe he doesn't trust the Raiders enough to get it done because, you know, he's been with the Raiders for this long and they haven't won, and they've done it with every type of coach you can think of, and, you know, players coming in, leaving the team. So he's probably looking – it sounds like from what it sounds like, I don't know if this is him trying to negotiate a better deal, but then he's also kind of implying like, hey, man, like, I'm tired of this. I want to go to a winning team. So we'll see. But I think $30 million, that's a solid deal. And I think what will help the Raiders' cause to get a good deal if they sign him right away, as soon as possible. Because like you mentioned, Michael Parsons is scheduled to get a deal. I think Myles Garrett, I think if he gets traded, he's probably going to want a new deal. I mean, yeah, I think I'm trying to think of any. There's some other pass rushers I'm probably leaving out, but those are the ones that come to mind. So we'll see. I mean, Mike, do you see as this is a fair deal, or do you feel like he's probably going to get more?
It could be, but I think he's going to end up getting a little above the 100 mil mark. So I think he might get around like 33, maybe 30, 34 a year, possibly.
Okay.
And it also is going to really depend on the guaranteed money. In my opinion, I know a lot of people were thinking he was alluding to trading or requesting a trade or wanting out, but in my opinion, I think Max just wants more to ensure himself and be secure with more guaranteed money. I really think that's what it is.
Okay. And you're okay with the years? 3 years?
I'd say 3 years, maybe with the 4th year option. I feel like that'll be fair.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. All right, well, the next free agent, this one is one that might be controversial. We'll see. Malcolm Kuntz, 2 years, $40 million. So Spot Track has his value at 20 mil, which is crazy because, like, usually when a player is injured, they're not gonna get like a big deal like that. They're not going to get a 20 million right off the bat. Like that's just crazy. But we all know pass rushers get paid. We understand their market, but he literally had half of a season of production. Yeah. His whole career. He's 25 years old. It is a weak pass rusher market as far as free agents goes. Is this a realistic deal? 2 years, 40 mil? Marcus?
No, I don't think so. You know, because I'm looking at some of these other guys that are probably around where you would say Malcolm Kuntz's real value is. I think they're taking in his age into a little bit, but like, you know, like Alex Highsmith makes 17 million. Can you like? I think Malcolm Kuntz has a lot of potential. You know, I was always been high on him even when he came out of the draft.
Highsmith's a beast.
Right now, do I say he should get paid more than Alex Highsmith? I don't know. I mean, should he get paid more than, you know, Hassan Reddick right now? So like,
yeah,
it's tough. It's tough with that one. I don't know. I think Malcolm Kuntz is gonna get a 1 year deal, in my opinion. Yeah. So wherever he goes, just because based on his him coming off the injury, but I don't think that the 20 million is a little high for me.
No, I agree. I think he should get a 1 year deal, and I think it should be a prove-it deal. Usually, when we see players get hurt the previous season, usually they sign a 1 year deal, and they kind of bet on themselves, and then they cash out the following offseason. So I'm like, damn, like if he's getting 20 million this year, then let's say if they gave him a 1 year 20 mil, then what is he going to get the next offseason when he has a productive season, which is crazy. Yeah. But I mean, Mike, do you agree with the contract?
Honestly, I feel like that's a real crazy price to have for somebody that, like you guys said, just coming off a season-ending injury. I can't imagine myself paying that much money to a guy coming off a season-ending injury. In my opinion, I'd offer him a 1 year prove-it deal, and if he wants to test the waters, test his market, and see if somebody's willing to pay him that much money or close to that, hey man, more power to you. We have Caleb Von Chason, who looked pretty impressive and is a pending free agent too. I'd rather possibly take a chance paying him, and he's been healthy, than taking the risk and paying you that much. And what if you're not the same coming back from injury, or we don't see that same type of performance from you.
Hey, Marcus, you mentioned Highsmith. Did he sign a contract? Did they sign him to a deal or? I know he was I think he's a free agent this year. So I don't know if they signed him to a contract already.
Let's see. He's 4 year, $68 million contract with the Steelers. So that was 2023 through 2027. So he signed a new one. Yeah, that's 17 mil.
17 mil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
About the same age too.
Yeah, and Highsmith is. I ain't gonna lie, Highsmith's a beast too. He's nice. Yeah, man, that's tough. But Kuntz is 25 years old. He's the youngest guy as far as pass rushers with that type of skill set available, and teams might get excited. But I just think that it's gonna. I agree. I think it's gonna be a 1-year deal, and it's gonna be a prove-it deal. I don't think it's gonna be 20 million, but it's. Hey man, we've seen crazier things, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with the 2-year 40 mil, especially him coming off an injury. He only had one half of a season, 8 sacks. I mean, it was good, but it was one half of a season. We have to see him put it together. But if you hear like Max talk about Kuntz, literally before the season started, Patrick Graham was like, "This is the guy. He's the guy he's most excited to see." And then Max was like, man, he I think in a recent interview talking about how this dude, man, he's a monster. I really didn't have to tell him. Like a lot of players on the team, when they come to me and say I want to be great and he has to tell them what to do. He's a guy that just does it. He doesn't have to tell them anything, and he has a lot of high praise for Malcolm Kuntz. But we'll see, man. So I don't agree with the 2-year 40 mil, but we'll see how it shakes out. The next deal, we got Trayvon Moehrig. 3 years, $47.2 million. You guys okay with that deal for Moehrig, who had a big season?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Absolutely.
They got to bring him back any way possible because when you draft a guy like that and then he turns out to be as good as he is at this point, especially he changed positions this year. Like he was a free safety, he played strong safety this year. His versatility, you got to keep him. Do
you leave him at strong, or do you feel like he plays better at free? Because he didn't really make a lot of play. Like that's the one thing you could knock on Moehrig. He's not really a ball hawk like that.
Yeah, I think you just got to be versatile with it and kind of just move him around. Especially at this point in the NFL, I mean, having a guy who's just versatile who could do both is important. So, I mean. I wouldn't get too stressed out on like, do you put him back at free safety? I think you just let him play all over the field.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the idea of him roaming the field. Honestly, that's where he was really thriving, and in my opinion, he's going back. If we re-sign him, he'd be pretty much in the same defense again with Pat Graham. So, in my opinion, why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I liked him right there playing strong safety. It was a good move. It was a good transition for him.
Yeah. I mean, literally when he was coming out, that was like the biggest strength of his versatility. Like him going in the slide, playing free, so it makes a whole lot of sense. But all right, so we agree with this one. Trayvon Moehrig getting 3 years, $47.2 million. The next contract here, we got Spillane. 2 years, $20.8 million. Is this a reasonable deal? $10 million a year for Spillane? Or are we moving on?
Absolutely.
I mean, I think Spillane's replaceable.
I do it.
Hey.
No, I got to keep Spillane, man. I got to get him and pair him up with another stud linebacker, whether it's in the draft or spend some money on another linebacker.
How do y'all feel about Dre Green? Off topic, but kind of on topic. Dre Greenlaw. I heard like he's wanting to lead the 49ers.
Price is right. Hell yeah.
Dre Greenlaw, linebacker. I mean, Divine Diablo is a free agent as well. I mean, that's gonna just make that whole. I don't know how y'all feel about Diablo, but but we'll just talk about Spillane for right now. So, Mike, it sounds like you agree with the move. Marcus, you're saying he's replaceable?
Yeah, I think he's replaceable. I just don't see him like as like a guy that I want to invest in past 30, because he is 30 years old, right? I mean, look at his age here. He's 29.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got him for $3 million last time. I think paying $10 million for a linebacker. I'm just looking at some of these linebackers. I think he's just not. I don't think he's that good to pay him $10 million. Like maybe if it was like 5 or 6, I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm cool with that. Like another 2-year 12, but like 10 million, like he just doesn't have that much of a, I would say, like dominant impact. Where like, because some games, Diablo gets a lot of shit, right? But some games Spillane disappears too. And I think paying him 10 million, which is, I'm looking at these inside linebackers. I mean, that's one of the highest paid linebackers in the NFL. That inside linebacker. So I can't do that.
He does make plays though. I'm not going for it. He does make plays. Like when it comes to like timely interceptions to, I mean, he has fumbles here and there. Man, it is tough. But I feel like he can't get exposed in pass coverage. And a lot of his pass plays usually are in zone, which the Raiders defense plays. But like if he were to guard someone man to man, it's like almost like automatic someone's gonna get a catch on him. If he had to guard tight end or a running back, he's getting cooked. But 2 years, $28 million. Marcus says he's passing on that one. Mike, you're a big fan of this deal?
You said 28 or 20.8?
20.8.
20.8?
Yeah.
Honestly, I would make the deal. I would do it.
Okay.
I feel like he hasn't really showed like too much regression. In my opinion, he had a really good last 2 years. So I would give him the deal. 2 years, it's possible, and who knows? Based on how they work the deal, maybe have it where it's a possible out on year 2 if he doesn't play up to expectations.
Marcus agrees, but he doesn't want to guarantee any of the $20.8 million.
No, because I'm looking at these guys. Like I'd rather pay like I could bring in like Malik Harrison. He's 26, and he was the backup for the Ravens, and when he came in and played for somebody got hurt. I think Roquan Smith. He looked great. You know what I mean? Like I think you could just go younger at the position and fill it in, but it all depends on what they want to do. I just think 10 million is a lot for Robert.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, the reality of the situation is the Raiders have a lot of free agents. They're not going to bring back everybody. So there's going to be some guys where like, damn, we let them go. But at the end of the day, like Spytek is in the building now. Pete Carroll's in the building now, and they're going to want their guys. I think Patrick Graham's going to have a say, but there's going to be moments where like Pete Carroll's going to be like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to go somewhere younger at the position. But we'll see how it shakes out. Spillane. We'll see if he comes back. But Adam Butler, he was a guy that a lot of people are hoping to come back. I mean, a big-time role player for that defensive line. I know when Max went down, the defensive line still was able to, play well even without Max to some extent. Adam Butler was one of the reasons why. I mean, do you think this is a fair deal? 2 years, $5.7 million for a role player like Adam Butler, Marcus?
Yeah. I think it'd be more of a 1 year deal with Adam Butler, though. I wouldn't expect him to go multiple years with that. Just because this defensive line class is so deep in the draft that I think they're gonna try to take one of these guys in one of these rounds here, like whether the second or third round. I think they're gonna be trying to load up on the defensive line too, and I think the defensive line free agents too are not too bad. So, I mean, there's some decent players here that they could pick up that maybe could fill in some spots that they really like. So, but I still think like a 1 year deal with him, it would be perfectly good. Because I think that's what Adam Butler is at this point. I think he's a 1 year deal type of NFL player. I wouldn't expect him to get the big multiple year contract at this point.
Mike, how you feel about the contract? 2 years, $5.7 million for Adam Butler.
Honestly, I might be willing to do it. Maybe a 1 year, like Marcus was saying, just because this draft class, there's a lot of depth when it comes to the D tackle position. So I don't know. We might be able to get a D tackle lower, and who knows? He might be able. I don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of Adam Butler, but who knows? Maybe this person might be able to do a bigger, play a bigger role, and not just be just in situations or for packages. What if he's somebody that you can have on the field at all times, right there, right next to Christian Wilkins?
Yeah, no, I agree because you are right about this draft class. There's a lot of defensive linemen. I think there's a lot of depth with that position group, and running back too. So maybe the Raiders might think like, it's a little bit too much money, especially because we can get a cheaper option in the draft. But we'll see how it shakes out. Adam Butler, 2 years, $5.7 million. The chat. We'll see the chat's going on. My bad. I'm over here ignoring the chat. I'm gonna post some links. We'll post you on a second. But we got Divine Diablo. In the meantime, Divine Diablo, 2 years, $15 million. Whew, that's a little. I don't know about this contract.
These linebackers.
Yeah, man. Marcus, go ahead and lead the way, man.
Same thing with Diablo. Like, I'm not paying him $7 million a year or $8 million, whatever the hell that is. Like, I'm not doing that. So, I don't know why Sports Track is what their thing is with linebackers, but like, there's no linebacker that makes more than $8 million just right now. So it's like they're really pushing up this market, and I don't think Diablo is worth that at all. So, if Levante David is getting paid $9 million, like, am I paying Divine Diablo that much money? That would be the thing. So
yeah, man, and Diablo he's just inconsistent. Like there'll be plays or times where he plays well, but then there's like times where he can't cover anybody. He's missing tackles. I don't 7.5 million. Yeah, that's one of those. Spat Track doesn't know the Raiders. They not paying attention. They overvaluing for sure. But yeah, go ahead, Mike. How you feel about the contract?
Yeah, I'll pass. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll pass. I'm not paying Divine Diablo that much money.
Okay.
Yeah, I do want to say this is like the first time. It's the first time MBZ Easy BX has ever agreed with me, so I appreciate that.
MBZ's always disagreeing, man. He always disagreeing, but he got a strong opinion. It's all good. But let's move it along, man. We got Clavion Chaseon, man. I know Mike, he's your guy. You brought him up earlier. 2 years, 6.8. Mike,
yes.
How you feel about the contract?
Yes, that's a steal. Oh yeah,
that's a steal. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like Robbie Leonard and Pat Graham, like they unleashed, like he was playing on a whole different level than what he was doing in Jacksonville. Yeah. Okay. I'd make that happen for sure.
Well, it's not a huge contract, especially for a pass rusher. He's going to be part of that rotation. I don't know how many snaps a game he's going to play when everybody's all healthy. If I don't know what the defensive line rotated. If Kuntz comes back, you would think that he's going to get the majority of the snaps. So then it's like 3.2. I mean, how do you feel about the contract, Marcus?
I think he's going to get more than that somewhere. That's what I think. I mean, defensive ends is a position. I mean, that's why I'm kind of weird looking at Sports Track. Kind of weird. I mean, because they gave Michael Kuntz $20 million, but they gave Chaseon, who played this year and had like 6 sacks, like $3 million, and he's an edge rusher. Like, I think there's a chance that he could find a sucker that would give him a lot of more money based on film than that, just because the upside is he's young too. There's upside. Like, I don't think the Raiders could be. I don't think it's gonna be that cheap. You know what I mean? I think because a lot of edges.
Would you?
Like, what's up?
Would you offer him like $5 to like $7 million a year?
I think it'd have to be. I think it might be like 10, man. It's gonna be something like that.
Ugh, that's disgusting.
Okay, is that something you'd be comfortable paying him?
Because, I mean, if it's like, what if it's like if it's 1 year 10, right? Like, you feel a lot better about that, right? Than like
maybe like an incentive base or something.
Yeah, it's something like that, because I really think 2 years, $3 million for a guy who has good film and is an edge rusher in a league that needs to get after the passer is just lowballing the hell out of him. I think he can go out there. He could find somebody to at least give him some pretty good money that the Raiders are just not going. It's not going to be just easy to sign him back, in my opinion. I think this is going to be a little bit of an issue. Because you think about it, last year, if Malcolm Kuntz came off that 8 sack season and he was a free agent, the Raiders would have had to have been in a tough position where they would have had to pay him a lot more money than they really wanted to at the time, just in case, because he's coming off that buzz of having those sacks and those type of things. And I think the edge rusher is just such a value position. And I'm staring at this Nate Hobbs one too, just being upset. Does that say 1 year 2.8? I'm looking at that right.
Yeah, we'll get to it in a second. But look, if you're talking about $10 million for Chase Young, I'd rather go all in on Kuntz. I'm fine with just going all in on Kuntz because, come on, man, Chase Young, $10 million, and I hear what you're saying too, because just to speak to your point, it's not really a good market as far as the pass rushing. Like, a lot of the guys are older. Khalil Mack, he's like, he's a little older. I don't know what he's probably going to want to go to, like, one of the 49ers or, like, whatever winning team that he feels like is going to win the next year. He's, that's a whole story with guys when they get older and they're really good, they just want to win the Super Bowl. So I could see what you're saying, but man, $10 million for Chase Young, and he literally. Like he literally, we signed him off the streets. He wasn't signed. He was literally, was he on a practice squad? I don't even know. Like his signing came off out of left field. Like no one seen Chase Young being signed by the Raiders. Like that was not it happened during the season, obviously, but going from that to getting, big time contract, that's crazy. But we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, it's position value for me. Edges get paid way more than they should.
For sure. We just got done talking about Kuntz. They're projecting him $20 million a year, and he's literally been gone. Like he's been hurt this whole year. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. That being said, let's move it along, man. You see it on the screen. Nate Hobbs, $2.8 million. Marcus, do your thing, man.
That's disrespectful. Because the thing is with Nate Hobbs, and like, maybe people will be like, okay, maybe he gets that value because of, like, maybe he doesn't have like this, like, interceptions and stats and stuff like that. But he's like, it would be like, when the Bengals got Mike Hilton for a team, if the Raiders do end up letting him go, like, he could have that type of impact where, like, Mike Hilton doesn't really guard anybody that well. I mean, he threw on Mike Hilton. It's totally different than Mike Hilton actually, blitzing, playing the run, those type of things from a slot corner that Nate Hobbs. That's where his value's at. He's one of the best slot corners in the NFL. So maybe he is that cheap, but I just think like Cooper DeJean and some of these other slot corners in the NFL, they've raised that price, that value of the importance of having a guy like that. So that's why I think Nate Hobbs is getting lowballed here big time.
Oh, DeJean was the slot corner? Slay was that. Slay was the other outside corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, but Nate Hobbs, I like Nate Hobbs, talented corner. I mean, like when you hear like his teammates talk about him, like he's like, I remember I was surprised when they were like, he's the fastest player on the team. There are a few players on the team saying that Nate Hobbs was the fastest player on the team, and you got like guys like Trey Tucker on the squad and other guys. Like the issue is not him as a player; it's more so his health. Like he's hurt, like he's been hurt every year of his career. But 2.8 million, man, I'll take that any day.
That's low ball.
Whew.
Yeah, that's
Mike,
low balling.
How you feel about the contract? You doing it?
I definitely do it. I think Nate Hobbs would do that contract. I feel like that's, like Marcus was saying, that's really disrespectful.
I'll do it for 3 years. 3 years, 2.8 million.
Oh, man.
Might as well.
Shit.
2.8 ain't shit.
Yeah, that's honestly, I feel like he'd deserve at least anywhere from like 9 to 10 mil at least, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because even though I get it, he does have injury concerns, but when he's out there, he's killing it, and he's a big factor on that defense. So that's somebody that I would try to prioritize bringing back too, as long as the price is right. Hopefully, he doesn't have much money. Obviously this is a real disrespectful amount, so I don't know exactly how much he's gonna want, but hopefully it's somewhere where the Raiders could come to a conclusion with him and be like, yeah, we could come to an agreement and get it done.
I think a deal like this is just all about his health. It might not be that cheap, but I think it's going to be it's most likely going to be a 1-year deal wherever he signs. Hopefully the Raiders can bring him back, and it'll be a reasonable contract for them. But it's going to most likely be a 1-year deal, and then he got to stay healthy. And if he balls out, he gets a big time multi-year deal somewhere else or with the Raiders. But 2.8 is kind of crazy though. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, man. Hey, that pretty much wraps up the free agency as far as this key free agents for the Raiders. We'll see who the Raiders bring back. I mean, there's other guys too. There's John Jenkins. He's pretty much done. I mean, he's been signing 1-year deals almost every year. I think the Raiders. That's probably another position that Raiders need to look to replace his nose tackle, a run stopping defensive tackle. That would be nice to pick up maybe in I don't know, free agency, possibly the draft. We'll see. But the Raiders are going to be, from what it sounds like, Raiders are going to be pretty aggressive in free agency. They're going to be ready to throw the money at some of these free agents. But man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. At this point, clock out. Man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Marcus, man, let people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
You can find me on Twitter at the MarkJohnNFL for Twitter. We're on TikTok as well. I don't know the handle at the top of my head though. I think it's at Tape Don't Lie. So if you're on TikTok, fuck with TikTok, I'm there. And then also, of course, YouTube, Tape Don't Lie. Just search for that. Join that channel, subscribe to that. We do doing all of the draft. And then you become the membership. I got like every Sugar Sanders game. I got like 4 Cam Ward games up there. So a lot of full breakdowns on there. And yeah, man, that's basically wherever you can find me.
Yeah, man, definitely check out his breakdowns. I know recently you had you broke down the Chip Kelly offense, which was pretty cool. Excited to see what that offense is going to look like, especially that run game. That pass game, though, you weren't really too high on, but that's a whole different conversation for another day. Mike, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Machiavelli24. Also, every Wednesday we do a show on YouTube and Twitter, BTB, Black Team Broadcast. That's myself and my guy Big Corey. I'm sure a lot of y'all are familiar with him too, with the funny highlights. But yeah, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I believe for the most part we do them under Big Corey's channel. And next week we should be having from in the Alley area, if you're familiar, we're gonna have Rosecrans Vic from Power 106 on the show. And then 2 weeks from now we're gonna have AP on the show.
Ooh, man, that's fire, bro.
Yeah.
Man, I'm looking forward to that, especially I want to hear what he has to say. I know you guys gonna have some questions, man. That's dope.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we gonna grill them. You already know. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a real entertaining one. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel and pull up. Hopefully, that opens up the avenue for some more players, more guys who want to pull up too.
Yeah, man. Hey, Marcus, Tape Don't Lie. Mike, Black Team Broadcast. Obviously, you see his Twitter handle, his social media handle, and then you said that the show, the podcast, is on Corey's YouTube.
Yeah, his YouTube channel is Big Corey 00. Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Hey, man, that's dope, man. I'm looking forward to seeing that collab, man. It's gonna be dope, man. I appreciate you guys coming through. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in. Like I said, at this point, clock out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see y'all next week. 50-50 show next Tuesday. Obviously, we'll be back here next Friday at our usual time where we drop the episode of Around the Shield. Hey, till next time. Peace.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.